Hi guys, and welcome back to another book tasting. Today, we're only going to be tasting one book, but that's okay because it's super fun and I am so excited to share it with you guys today. Now, as you can see, I don't have the book because it's an ebook. And I figured since the library is closed this week, what better time than to share with you an ebook? And I'm going to actually guide you through on how to access an ebook through our website. But first, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the book so I can get you guys really interested in before I show you how to access the ebook and then read a little bit of the ebook for us today. So, Flora and Ulysses is the book that we'll be tasting today. Now, I know that some of you guys have Disney Plus, and I'm sure you've seen on TV that Disney Plus has been advertising that they'll be streaming the movie Flora and Ulysses on February 19th. Super exciting because Flora and Ulysses has been a book since about 2013, and I cannot wait to see the movie because the book is fantastic. So Flora and Ulysses is a book that is written in a bit of an unusual way, or at least it was in 2013 when it was published. It is intertwined with a comic-style graphic sequence and full-page illustrations. So if you enjoy comic books and graphic novels, you're definitely going to enjoy reading this book, especially since the main character, Flora, is a huge comic book fan. So throughout the story, Flora references her favorite comic book, which is Incandescent Man. And she also likes to imagine that speech bubbles appear above her head when she's talking or thinking. That's so cool. And it'll actually show you that in the book as you're reading. So it's very cool. So one day, Flora witnesses her neighbor suck up a poor squirrel with a vacuum. Yeah, I said that. A vacuum. And yeah, they're outside. What is she doing with a vacuum outside? Who has a vacuum outside? Sucking up things. But it's okay. The squirrel is fine. Flora saves the day, just like a superhero. But things are a little different for the squirrel. Well, a lot different for the squirrel. The squirrel now has super strength and can fly. It's like he's a superhero now. Amazing. This book, it's really going to get you guys laughing, make you sit at the edge of your seat, and maybe even warm your heart a little bit. So let's go ahead and move on to my computer, where I'm going to show you how to access the ebook, and then we'll do a little bit of tasting. So I'll see you guys in a second. All right, so I am on the Lindenhurst Memorial Library website, and I'm going to go ahead to the box and click in there and type Flora and Ulysses. And then I'll hit enter, or you can click on search. We're going to come to this page, and it's going to give us a couple options for the book. The first option is an audiobook, and that's simply a book that reads to you. And that is a wonderful choice if you are doing your chores, or if you are on the go, or you just need a change of scenery and you head out to the park, or you're taking a walk around town. Then you can pull up this audiobook on any devices you have with you, and you can go ahead and catch up on some reading without actually reading a book. The next choice is an ebook, and that's the one that we'll be looking at today. And then you have our printed book of Flora and Ulysses at the library. Now, since the library is closed, you cannot come in and check it out, but you can put that book on hold, and then that way when we do open back up, you guys can come in and check it out. So let's go ahead to our ebook. We're going to click on Access here, and that'll bring up our next page, which asks us if we want to borrow or read a sample. And read a sample is basically what we do in these videos every week, is tasting a book. So it's going to give you a couple of pages to read here and there, even some pictures to look at, and that kind of gets your interest flowing, whether or not you want to borrow it or move on to something else. So we're going to go ahead and click on Borrow. Now it's going to ask us to sign in. Don't worry, super easy. We're going to go right here and we're going to find our library, Lindenhurst Memorial. Just kind of scroll down, click on it. Then you're going to go ahead and put in your library card number. That's that great big number that's right underneath the barcode. Go ahead and type that in and then put in a password. If you do not have a password, it's okay. You're going to click on Password Help and you can set it up within a few seconds. If you are having trouble, don't worry. Just go back to the library website and click on the little chat box down in the right-hand corner, and a librarian will help you guys get that password all set up. So we're going to go ahead and click Sign In, and a new box is going to pop up, and it's going to say Borrow or Cancel. It even lets us change how many days we want to check the book out. I'm going to go ahead and keep it at 14 days, and I'm going to click Borrow. And it's going to ask me if I want to read on my Kindle or read in the browser. Since I'm on my computer right now, I'm going to go ahead and read in my browser. So I'll click on that. And the book will pop right up. Now, as you can see, I have already been reading it and I have bookmarked it. But I'm just going to go right on back to chapter 1. Or actually, to the very beginning. Flora and Ulysses. Let's go ahead and turn the pages. And here we go. We're going to go ahead and get started. And there's that comic book style that I was talking about a few seconds ago. And let's read. In the Tickham kitchen, late on a summer afternoon. Ahem. Happy birthday to you. What's this, Donald? This is your birthday present. It is a Ulysses Super Suction Multi-Terrain 2000X. Happy birthday. It's a vacuum cleaner. It's a Ulysses 2000X. Yep, it's the crown jewel of vacuums. It features an extra long cord so that absolutely no mess, no dirt is ever out of reach. It's indoor, outdoor, it goes everywhere, it does everything. Goody. You have to try it out. Turn it on. For heaven's sake, Donald. Please. There she goes. She turns it on, and that vacuum starts going crazy. Whoa! Hey now. It has like a super suction. What in the world, Donald? It's multi-terrain. You should try it outside. And that's how it all began, with a vacuum cleaner. Really. Chapter 1, A Natural-Born Cynic. And I don't know if you could tell, when I am changing the pages, I'm just simply putting my cursor, which is my hand right here, onto the side, off of the words, and just clicking my mouse pad, or my mouse, and it turns the pages for me. So chapter 1. Flora Bell Buckman was in her room at her desk. She was very busy. She was doing two things at once. She was ignoring her mother, and she was also reading a comic book entitled The Illuminated Adventures of the Amazing Incandesto. Flora, her mother shouted, what are you doing up there? I'm reading, Flora shouted back. Remember the contract, her mother shouted. Do not forget the contract. At the beginning of summer, in a moment of weakness, Flora had made the mistake of signing a contract that said she would work to turn her face away from the idiotic hijinks of comics and toward the bright light of true literature. Those were the exact words of the contract. They were her mother's words. Flora's mother was a writer. She was divorced, and she wrote romance novels. Talk about idiotic hijinks. Flora hated romance novels. In fact, she hated romance. "I hate romance," said Flora out loud to herself. She liked the way the words sounded. She imagined them floating above her in a comic strip bubble. It was a comforting thing to have words hanging over her head, especially negative words about romance. There's that speech bubble that I was talking about earlier. Flora's mother had often accused Flora of being a natural-born cynic. Flora suspected that this was true. She was a natural-born cynic who lived in defiance of contracts. Yep, thought Flora, that's me. She bent her head and went back to reading about the amazing incandesto. She was interrupted a few minutes later by a very loud noise. It sounded as if a jet plane had landed in the Tickums' backyard. "What the heck?" said Flora. She got up from her desk and looked out the window and saw Mrs. Tickum running around the backyard with a shiny, oversized vacuum cleaner. It looked like she was vacuuming the yard. "That can't be," thought Flora. "Who vacuums their yard?" Actually, it didn't look like Mrs. Tickum knew what she was doing. It was more like the vacuum cleaner was in charge. And the vacuum cleaner seemed to be out of its mind, or its engine, or something. "A few bolts shy of a load," said Flora out loud. And then she saw that Mrs. Tickum and the vacuum cleaner were headed directly for a squirrel. "Hey now," said Flora. She banged on the window. "Watch out," she shouted. "You're going to vacuum up that squirrel." She said the words, and then she had a strange moment of seeing them, hanging there over her head. "You're going to vacuum up that squirrel." There's just no predicting what kind of sentences you might say, thought Flora. For instance, who would ever think you would shout, "You're going to vacuum up that squirrel"? Didn't make any difference, though, what words she said. Flora was too far away. The vacuum cleaner was too loud. And also, clearly, it was bent on destruction. "This malfeasance must be stopped," said Flora in a deep and superheroic voice. "This malfeasance must be stopped," was what the unassuming janitor Alfred T. Slipper always said before he was transformed into the amazing incandesto and became a towering crime-fighting pillar of light. Unfortunately, Alfred T. Slipper wasn't present. Where was Incandesto when you needed him? Not that Flora really believed in superheroes, but still. She stood at the window and watched as the squirrel was vacuumed up. Poof-oomph! "Holy bagumba," said Flora. And we're going to stop right there. That's the end of chapter 1. And here we go right into chapter 2, The Mind of a Squirrel. But we're not going to go ahead and read that. So if you guys want to stop and you don't want to read the whole book at once, because normally we don't really do that, we always need a break here and there. And usually in a printed book, you put some sort of bookmark to hold your spot. Well, since this is an ebook, you're going to go ahead and click on the words, and some tools are going to show up. And down here kind of shows you the span of the book and how much we've read already, which is only 2%, but that's okay. And up here, we have our different tools. Right here's our magnifying glass. You can zoom in and out. And this is our bookmark. You just click on it, and it holds your spot until the next time you open up this ebook, just like it did in the beginning of the story for me. And that's it. Once you're done, you exit out, and when you're ready to come back, you just sign in the same way that you did before. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed that little taste of Flora and Ulysses, and I can't wait to see the movie. I hope you guys are excited about it too, because then we get to see Do we like the movie the best? Or the book? Who knows? But I can't wait to find out. Happy reading, guys. See you next week.